My name is Lori and you are watching The Icing Artist. We are making a two-sided Unikitty cake. To get started, I baked a 6-inch square cake and I just divided that into two and then layered that up with my buttercream icing. I then gave it a nice crumb coat all the way around the sides just to lock in all those crumbs. Now the nice thing about working with a crusting buttercream like this is you can use a napkin or paper towel to help really smooth it out. Just rub it on the cake and pull it off, and even though it doesn't need to be perfectly smooth because we're covering it fondant, it's always nice to start with that kind of like smooth base. Now, since this is a two-sided cake, we are going to be covering it in two different colors of fondant. First color, I'm going to roll out my red fondant, pick that up and quickly drape that on my cake. Now I always find with red fondant and black fondant, it is prone to cracks because it is so dry. But I am not going to worry because we're going to be covering up most of the crack with the details later. Just grabbed my ruler and then marked where the halfway point was and just carefully trimmed off the excess fondant using a knife. Set my cake aside really quickly and rolled out my pink fondant because we need to get that on the cake as well. Smooth that out the exact same way with my hands, and you'll notice that this fondant is a lot more elastic. So we're not going to get those same cracks. Use my fondant smoother to help try to get some of those nice Lego block square edges, and then just use that seam that's right down the center to act as my guide to trim off the rest of the fondant. That is a clean line. I am shocked at how clean that line is. If you guys are not subscribed and want to see me make more cakes, hit that subscribe button down below. Now Unikitty has these like bands going around the bottom and the top of her face. So for her happy side, I'm going to use white to wrap around the bottom. I just used my multi-pizza cutting tool to cut out these exact same even strips for all four. Wrap that around my cake, and then for the top, I'm going to do pink. Just turn my cake around, and for the angry Unikitty, it has yellow along the bottom and then red on top. That's not true, it has gray on top. And it also has these little bolts, so I just cut out some circles out of black fondant and gray fondant, layered those up, and then stuck them on. Below that kind of bolty looking headband, it has this little triangle. So I cut out a black triangle and a gray triangle that I just cut in half and kind of separated. I feel like it's her warrior headband. For the angry face, I'm just going to use a template to cut out that yellow section, and then we're going to sit all the other details into it. And I did the exact same thing with my white fondant for the happy side. We're just flipping back and forth here. I just cut out a black circle to kind of outline the eyes, almost like a lash line. And then made these like really big puppy dog eyes. I cut out some blue fondant and black fondant and just layered those up with these big white circles. And these are the cutest like Puss in Boots puppy eyes you ever seen. Finish the eyes off with some big beautiful lashes, of course, and we're gonna move back to the angry side. I swear this cake is starting to look like the two sides of my personality when I'm hungry. When I'm hangry, and then after I've gotten food. Now, because there's a lot of layers to these eyes, I kind of wanted to inset each circle into each other. So I just inset my white, black, and red circles, add the little white circle on top, and then cut that. Now that is just gonna fit into those little curve lines that are already onto the cake, and it seriously looks like she's giving me daggers right now. Finish it off with that top lash line, which just makes her look that much more evil. For her eyebrows, I used a template and this little tiny scalpel knife I got that I use for cake decorating. It is so handy for doing fine details like this. Glued her evil eyebrows right onto the cake. Gave her a little red triangle nose and this frowny face and this little baby tooth. If you guys have not seen last week's video, I made these exploding stars and hearts also from Lego Movie 2, so make sure to click the eye. They are really fun. Back over to the happy face, we're gonna cut out a large black oval and use the same oval cutter to kind of cut the top of it. And then cut out the tongue using the same oval cutter. Added a little pink oval nose and some big pink cheeks. Now for that two-sided Lego nub, I cut out some thick white and gray circles of the 3 different sizes, layered those up together, cut them in half, and then smushed, carefully smushed both halves together. The horn took me a second to figure out, but I figured if I cut out a template of like a long triangle and then rolled that long triangle together, it would kind of create a spiral cone-like shape. So I did that with my blue and my red fondant. Again, carefully cut those both in half and put those two halves together, stuck that on top of my cake. The ears are super simple. They're just really thick triangles of each color, put both sides together, and topped our cake off. And that is it. Our happy Unikitty and our angry Unikitty is completely finished. This is my first two-sided cake I've ever made, and I had a lot of fun doing this. If you guys want to see more two-sided cakes, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment down below, letting me know that you guys liked it, and don't forget to come back here again next week so we can make something else in a cake. Bye guys.